What's up, you guys? We are back with another episode of Who Even Asked. As always, I'm Kay.
And I'm Jazz.
And how are you doing, cousin? I hadn't seen you in a fat minute.
I know it's been like almost 2 weeks now. I'm doing good. I don't know what happened this time, but like I just don't want to leave and like dude,
Don't do
it's
this.
like
Oh,
I was
like,
talking to my other cousin earlier and I unfortunately I think I really am going to move back after my lease is up. I'm sorry.
I figured you gotta quit doing this back and forth. You need to stay in a place for a little bit.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I've been here like all the time except this time that I've been in Lubbock. But just when coming back and like it's so much, I don't know how to explain it. It's like everything's so new. Like, everything's fresh, like, there's not a lot of dirt, except this weekend we did get a lot of dirt, but I don't know. It's just so much nicer over here. Like, you're gonna hate me, but I'm sorry.
Well, I guess you guys get used to these kind of episodes. I guess this is what we're gonna have from now on.
Hey, you know who does episodes like this, though? Like what are they? The BFFs or whatever, have you seen them?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah.
The Barstool people? Yeah. But how was,
Anyway, I'm
your
gonna hide my sadness, but
how was your weekend?
it was good. What did I do? Yeah, it was pretty good. Pretty uneventful. How was your birthday?
It was really good, actually. I went to the casino, and I was doing horrible all day. Like, absolutely trash. And I think it was down to my, like, last $40, and I put in a 20 and a $2 machine. Oh, no, it was a $1 machine, and I hit all sevens in the little thing, which pays you 2 times, and so
Nice.
I won $320. Well,
Oh yeah.
then, a couple spins later, I hit it again, all sevens. Then, a couple spins later, I hit it again. 3 times in a row. The guy next to me was like, "I've never seen that happen before."
Dude, that's
Yeah.
crazy. I told
And
you you're on a lucky streak this year.
yeah, last night, my hand was itching really bad, and I had a dream that I won $30,000.
You better get your ass back there before you come back.
Mhm. I know, I'm already like, "I'm gonna go tomorrow." No, I'm just kidding. So what are your plans for this weekend, though?
Literally nothing. I'm just gonna binge watch some shows. It's supposed to be cold and rainy, so binge watch some shows.
I had a great idea. What if
Okay.
you and Jacob moved down here?
See, the problem with that is I would have to like start my business all over.
Oh, yeah.
And it's taken me like almost 3 years to get to this point. Tempting
True,
though.
true. Yeah. If I in a perfect world, I'd have, like, all my favorite cousins down here or in Austin. Except Austin's
Yeah.
super expensive, but I don't know, you know
You're
me.
the one leaving me. Okay.
But to be fair, I've lived most of my life not in Lubbock.
Yeah, I guess
So
at this point that's true, huh?
so I'm just so used to, being somewhere else. And, I don't know, like, I feel like after Christmas and after being here for, like, a little bit, something kinda just, like, shifted in me a little bit to where, like,
Totally.
I just kinda miss being over here. And then it has a lot to do with my family, but it also doesn't. Like, I just like how fresh it is, you know?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sad, but hey, do you?
No, but, like, I mean, we still got to August. And then your wedding, you get
Bitch.
married in September.
You're literally moving right before my wedding too. That's so shady of
Well,
you.
I probably will. Yeah. Hey, what if I
I
was
just
like, "Yeah, I'm moving on purpose because of your wedding, actually."
you're like, actually, I hate you and I'm trying to get away from you. That's funny.
No, I was thinking about that today, though. I was like, you know, if I do move back, and, you know me, though, like, you know how wishy-washy I am. I am,
The
like,
witchy
so
watch.
I, like, one week, I'm like, "I'm gonna move to Anna," and then my parents could piss me off next weekend, and I could be like, "No, I'm gonna stay in Lubbock." So, you know what? Don't hold on to my words because dude, I make such rash decisions. I always do. Like, I don't have anything really tying me down except the apartment. You know what I mean? Or over here, vice versa,
Yeah.
and, like, back and forth. So,
So are you gonna get an apartment?
um, probably not at first if I do move back because I really wanna get some new equipment, and that's honestly a big part of me is I think I didn't appreciate my money when I was, like, not paying rent. Yeah, I wanna really, because we talked about this before, like, me wanting to start my camera, like, photography business and getting better at that, and I just think, like, living with my parents, buying a new camera, buying new equipment, and, like, eventually, like, trying to work for myself, and that'll give me, like, an opportunity to save money, um, but also so that way I can focus on, like, this, like, I love doing this podcast stuff, and I love doing, like, my other podcast, and I love doing pictures, and I feel like kind of giving myself that, like, money, what is it, like,
Like a
buffer, I
head start.
guess? Yeah,
Yeah,
like, will
well,
kinda help me out.
for
Um,
sure.
and I think I'm so, like, this part of the year, because we talked about this, like, during the year, the beginning of the year, I really wanna get in on my creative endeavors, and I feel like this will really money, because I mean, the thing I'm lacking right now is money, and a
Yeah.
big chunk of it, other than the junk I spend it on, honestly, like, I could save better, is going towards my rent, so and
Yeah.
yeah, so I do feel bad. I
Well,
know.
selfishly, I want you here, but, like, I totally get that. That's
Yeah.
100% valid, and I think it's gonna help set you up for success. And it just gives me a reason to come gamble with you. So,
Yeah, if you ever do, because last time you said you would and you never did.
look, here's the thing. I'm just always broke. Like, I'm terrible about, like, going on trips and, like, getting out. So I wanna be better at that.
Well, maybe this is an opportunity for you to be better.
You know
What
what?
if
That's true.
what if we, I mean, this is totally joking, but what if we did 1 week we do the podcast over there and 1 week you come over here? No, I'm just kidding. Could you imagine if we had, like, a plane to do that?
Maybe we could plan for, like, once every 2 months or something like
Yeah,
that.
no, no. Well, like, obviously, if I move down here, and once again, this is if, because I am very wishy-washy. Um, I don't know why I just opened the podcast with that, like
Welcome to our therapy session.
this is just gonna be us conversating. But yeah, I don't know why I opened the podcast with that. That was, I think it just came out. But yeah, no, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But every time I come back here, I don't know, man. I don't have anything tying me down, and I
You
feel
gotta go
like
with your
if
gut. You gotta go
yeah,
with what makes you happy.
yep. But I will miss my family and stuff, and you guys, and
Yeah, right.
I do. You lie.
Oh, I'm just
You're the
kidding.
one that never wants to hang out with me.
That's not true. I like to do stuff on the weekends. I
No,
just don't
I'm
always
just
wanna
joking.
go out out.
No, I'm just
Wow.
kidding with you. I honestly don't want to go out either anymore. As much, at least. I haven't been out at all since the beginning of the year, which is like a big thing
Dang.
for me. Like,
For
I haven't
3
gone to
months in.
any bars at all. Not even at the casino. When I went to the casino, I didn't go to the bar. I mean, I went to the bar, like, to buy beer, but not like the actual, like, bar.
You know, I
So,
love to sit at the bar and play the little machines, like, at the bar. Love
yeah.
that. I could sit there
M
all day.
My dad knows or loves to play those too. Those little, like, old ones that are, like, just hooked into the bar.
Mhm. Love that.
Yeah. So, do you have any, big exciting plans or news or anything, like, going on lately?
No. I'm so boring lately. I probably say that, and then, like, I'll text you later and be like, "Actually, this major event happened." But no, life's boring, but
How
that's how I like it.
how's wedding planning going?
No, it's already pretty good. I think I have about as much as, like, I can have done right now. I'm a little stressed, if I'm being honest, but it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a fun day. Super excited.
'Cause it's less than what? I mean, it's almost 6 months away?
Yeah. Just 6 months away.
Something like that?
You make me nervous.
Well, what's funny is, okay, so I think you and y'all got engaged after my other cousins, right? But my other cousins are also having, like, a really fast wedding, like, their wedding, they just planned it like that.
Uh-huh.
And,
Yeah.
you guys, well, I think we but yeah, both of y'all, my sets of cousins, have been together for so long, like, so it kinda makes sense, like, you know what I mean? But I'm just
Yeah.
like, "Dang, y'all moving fast." Like, as far as planning and stuff goes. And
Yeah.
so that has to definitely be stressful.
You know, that's funny though, like, I did have so much time to, like, plan this, but, like, couldn't plan it because I didn't know it was happening. But it was funny before we got engaged, I was like, "Oh, our anniversary is on Saturday next year, like, that would be perfect," and then here we are, and just all worked out. So I kinda manifested this.
Yeah. I don't know, do you have anything else you wanna catch up on?
No.
No?
I do wanna catch up on the shows I've been watching, which I know you have also been watching.
Yes. You wanna, what shows are specifically talking about?
So, I know we both watched the new Ruby Franke documentary that came out on Hulu. The I'm gonna butcher this name, Fox Hollow Murders,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever the name of
Mhm.
that one is. That's also on Hulu. And then what's the name of the third one?
Well, the third thing we had kinda wanted to discuss, I think that I maybe talked to you about before was the Casey Anthony TikTok thing?
Yes. Okay, so all
Yeah,
true crime things related.
yeah. This
Oh,
is really
one
just
more true crime thing I wanted to bring up. Did you watch the Gabby Petito on case on
yes.
Netflix? I don't have a whole lot to say about it, not a whole lot of like new information on that, but that girl with the black hair that was like saying she's Brian's friend, what the fuck was she doing in the documentary?
Dude, she's weird. She's, like, straight up weird. She reminds me of those people that, like, wanna just get fame off of, like, barely knowing somebody who did something bad or who's, like, dead or something.
No, seriously, it's like you talk to the person once and it's like, "Oh, I'm devastated. I'm
She was my
distraught."
best
Like,
friend.
bitch. I
But
hate when people do that.
didn't they go to school together or something like that?
Yeah, but the little thing about like, "Oh, and Brian wrote me this love letter, but I wasn't interested." So fucking weird. And I bet she knows good and goddamn well where Brian is because hot take, Brian's not fucking dead.
That's exactly what I was gonna just ask you. Do
Mm-mm.
you think he's dead? Because he's not. And I remember
Nah.
this when it first happened, I remember thinking this. I'm like, his bones deteriorated. I mean, his, you know, whatever deteriorated that fast. No way. First of all. Second of all, they only found his teeth, right?
And
I
his
think,
uncle was his dentist?
yes.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Sketch. I was talking about this with somebody earlier, and we talked about the point that I just thought of. They found those bones or whatever. We obviously know his parents planted the shit, right? Where the fuck did his parents get these bones from?
But how could they not tell those bones were his, though? Or tell
That's
they
what I'm
were?
saying. Couldn't there be like DNA from bones?
Like
I
bone
don't know how
marrow
that
DNA
works.
or something like that?
That's what I would think. I don't know.
Huh.
But the yeah, no, because they coulda just put teeth there and been like, "Oh, look, I have the fucking X-rays to prove that this is Brian." Like, he coulda just switched those, like
But I think okay, so I think they can't tell off of regular bones because I saw a true crime thing. This is I don't even remember what it was. It was just on TikTok, but this guy ended up killing this girl and he burns off her fingertips,
right.
removes like her teeth. Because I think your teeth, your fingertips, and I mean of course your blood, right? Can't you tell? Yeah, DNA. Um,
DNA, blood, skin, I would think. Skin
yeah.
cells?
So I don't know, but I do know like fingertips, teeth, and maybe hair. I don't know, but he did it all this stuff to like try and make sure that she couldn't be found out who it was. And the way they found out who it was is she had breast implants, so the implants have a serial
Oh,
number on them,
yeah.
and that's how they found out.
God bless fake titties.
I'm proud
That's
to be.
crazy. Speaking of bones, though, that kind of segues into one of the docs that we had watched, the Fox Hollow Murders.
Yeah. Do you?
What are your thoughts?
So the guy, I have so many thoughts on this, but should we give like a little bit of like a background, or you just want to just like
Yeah, we can give like a real brief synopsis because y'all are gonna have to go watch it. It's a little four-part series on Hulu, not super long. Um, but I feel like anytime we like cover a show, we have way too many bullet points. So I'm just gonna quickly
Yeah.
summarize that. I
Yes.
believe it was in 1976 in Minneapolis. There was like obviously like gay was not accepted at that time, and there was like this gay male, predominantly male gay community, and like bars in this little downtown area, and there was this guy who he was just
His
like a weird
name
dude. Yeah, what
mhm.
was his name?
Herb Baumeister. Baumeister?
Weird fucking name also.
Yeah.
But Herb was in the closet. He had a family, he had a wife, he had 2 kids. Well, when his wife would go into town for the summers, he would obviously frequent the gay bars. He would have parties back at his house, in his like indoor pool room, whatever. And he lived on like almost an estate, like it was 3 acres, lots of land.
It was
And
really nice too.
so yeah, it's stunning house. We'll hold on.
He
We'll get
oh,
into that because
sorry.
I have lots about the house. That basically they one of his kids finds a skull on the property, and so his wife files for divorce, tells the attorney about this. So the attorney's like, actually, let's go check this out. They find tens of thousands of bone fragments. And then the rest of the story gets kind of crazy. There's apparently like a co-conspirator. Super nuts. Y'all go give it a watch so you
Yeah.
know what we're talking about.
So one thing I did wanna add to that, 'cause I wrote this down too, is so I think it was a year before, all this happened, he had wrote to his, or he had talked to his lawyer about this guy, and he said that Herb told his lawyer, uh, about a year earlier that he had gotten involved with a really bad dude named Mark Goodyear. Um,
Yes.
and Mark Goodyear, he was a key figure in this investigation, which is who you just talked about, the co-conspirator. And it turns out, like, he basically came forward and was saying that he got away from Herb and Herb tried to kill him. But in this documentary, we actually find out that Mark was actually a friend of Herb. And this dude, like, is crazy looking, which we'll get into that in a second too. And just his mannerisms are crazy. But the gist of it during this documentary, he comes out and he said that Mark said that he actually drugged Herb and
Oh, I
that
missed
they
that.
knew each other for 2 years and that he basically made up the story about getting away from Herb.
Yeah, and didn't he say they were like dating?
Yeah, so he didn't say they were dating, but it was, like, kinda insinuated that he was dating because that's what I thought too. But after I, like, looked again, it was more like he said they were, like, acquaintances that hung out a lot, so oh, but they also said that in that Herb's letter to his lawyer, he told the lawyer that Mark was stalking him, and in the documentary, Mark says that Herb is stalking him. So they're, like, pointing the fingers at each other.
Yeah.
It's very strange, but like Tay said, y'all go watch it, like, it's crazy.
Another thing we should bring up about this story is, so the house is like vacant for a long time, and so years later, this couple is looking to buy a house, and they're like, "Oh, let's go look at this one," and then they find out, like what happened here. So they buy it, and he is a couple, and they have 2 kids, and he was saying like, "Oh yeah, like my wife wasn't on board, like I had to talk her into it or whatever." How do we feel about the guy that bought the house?
He is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's weird. He, like, kept
He's like,
all
"I
the, like,
sleep in Herb's
memorabilia.
bedroom." Like,
Y
what?
yeah, what the fuck? And then he didn't change, like, the okay, so a lot of these, like, murders allegedly happened, in the pool house like I was talking about earlier, and he didn't change the fucking pool at all. Like, I would've, like, sealed that bitch in.
Or the house in general. The house still looks very old. You
Yeah, like, they
figure
didn't do a lot of updates.
yeah, you figured he would at least, like, update it a bit.
And didn't he say, like, you can like, it feels eerie, like, you can feel, like, presences?
It also said that he had the house blessed by I think a priest or something, and then a Native American shaman, like the land. so that they could get rid of anything that could possibly be there. But yeah, this dude is freaking. He's definitely like true crime. Like wants to be. Almost seems like he's trying to not be him, but like kind of get
Yeah, some
in.
weird shit. But I will say the house, stunning.
I'd buy that house. Like I don't care if people died on it.
Like, it has, like, a little creek, like, it's stunning. I love it.
In the indoor pool, I mean, come on. It's Minnesota, swimming all year.
True. But, like, once again, I don't know how I feel about this ballroom, like, it gives me the fucking creeps.
But I don't think I mean, but we don't know anything about, like, how these people died. Like,
Uh-uh.
we just know that there was the bones found, and I wanna know what was on those tapes.
Absolutely. I forgot about the tapes,
Oh
honestly.
my god. You know what my theory is? Can I say my theory about the
Yeah.
tapes? Okay. So, Herb, I don't know if we said this, but he committed suicide in Canada before the cops could catch him. So, uh, but he had gotten stopped before he was found dead, and in the back of his seat, they said that they had found a thing of tapes, or they saw a thing of, like, videotapes, like VHS tapes. Well, when Herb was found, there was no VHS tapes. And then we see Mark in the documentary make this weird statement when he's asked, "Do you think somebody killed Herb?" And Mark says something about, "Yeah, Herb couldn't have pulled the trigger, his sausage fingers," and then they say something, I can't remember the exact verbiage they say, but Mark goes, "Yeah, I'm not trying to spend 25 or go to jail for," basically, "I'm not
Yeah.
gonna try to go to jail for 25 years." So I
Mm.
think my theory is Mark had something to do with Herb's death, and Mark has the tapes.
Okay, so I could see that because I kinda thought that, but one thing okay, so the divorce was filed, and Herb was in Canada with his oldest son, correct?
I don't remember the son
Because
being there.
no, I'm pretty sure he was because it said, he was in Canada with his oldest son, and they wanted to go arrest him right then and there, but I'm not sure I don't remember if they didn't have, like, enough to prove it was him or what the deal was, but his son was with him, and they needed to get the son back, um, to the wife or something along those lines, so they picked up the son and then or maybe he went to Canada after he dropped off the son, something like that, but that part confused me a little because I was like, would Mark have been with Herb and his son? I don't know. Also, I would love a tell-all from the wife and the kids.
Yeah, but she on the documentary for, like, a tiny bit, and then it's not on there anymore?
I think she was, I don't think she was on this documentary, but I think there were clips of her doing, like, an interview, like, I don't know, maybe, like, 20 years
Mm.
ago or something like that.
Yeah, I was trying to look up to see if he was with anybody, but I'm not seeing that he was. So I don't remember hearing that. But, I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong or anything, I just don't remember that.
I could be
Um,
a little wrong on the timeline, but that part, but I did think what you thought. But I don't know. We need to do some more research on fucking Mark. Mark scares the piss out of me.
oh my gosh,
Oh my god.
the way he snaps, and then the way his mannerisms, and then he, like, gets so serious, and then he's like, "I didn't murder him, no." Like, fucking crazy, dude,
That was
like,
so accurate.
and his legs are crossed, and he's, like, has such gay mannerisms because he's gay, and
Because he's gay.
well, like, this dude okay, so when I saw him, I swear to you, he looked like somebody I'd seen before. Like, he looks familiar, and I don't know if it's because maybe I've seen his
Yeah.
picture looking at true crime stuff before maybe, and that's why I think, but this dude, I saw him and I'm like, "I've seen this guy somewhere," and I don't
No, you
remember
know who
where.
that motherfucker looks like? That
Sloth.
dude. Y- yes. How do you know I was gonna say that?
'Cause that's what I thought when I saw him.
Hey, you guys.
Dude, like, how do
That's
you get that
funny.
build, that poor guy?
No, but fucking Mark has some BPD for sure. Like
Dude.
he he's one how are ya away from just snapping.
I think Mark met this is my whole theory for the case, and this is probably wrong, obviously, but I think Mark met Herb, and maybe Herb had been killing people before, okay? But the plain fact is they found, I think 18 full sets of bones or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So 18 people over 2 years for serial killers I don't think is a lot, especially if they have that land. I think Herb met Mark, and
Mm.
Herb brought Mark home, and maybe he wasn't doing this stuff before he met Mark, and then Mark kind of, like, made him let him use his land,
Uh-huh.
or maybe they both found out that they like this stuff, like killing and
Yeah.
doing whatever to people, and then Herb maybe tried to get out, and then Mark was like, "No," and Mark just, like, kinda did because Mark's intimidating to me. Granted, we don't see what Herb acts like, but Mark just like, that dude's scary.
Scary as fuck. Okay, so
Yeah.
my thought is very similar, but I think okay, so another thing they said in the documentary was when Herb would go to the clubs, he would just kinda, like, sit off awkwardly in the corner and not really talk to anybody, he was just kinda weird. So I think that Mark went up to Herb and was like, "What's up? You wanna fuck?" And so then Herb was like, "Yeah, my wife's gone, let's go to the crib." So they go there, and
I got a
then I
pool
think, "You got a pool, let's get in this pool, bitch."
and some
So
mannequins.
the mannequin hold up, well, okay, but I think they go back to Herb's house, and I think they do some shit, and then I think Mark is like, "Okay, bitch, I know where you live. If you don't let me get away with some weird, freaky shit and hide the bodies here, I'm gonna out you to your wife." And I think Herb was a poon, and so I think he just went along with it. And another thing that was brought up was in his suicide letter, he didn't mention, like, anything about this or that he was so sorry, whatever. I think maybe he didn't mention any of that because he didn't kill anybody. I just think he
Yeah,
didn't want it the whole world to know he was gay.
I agree, especially because of how taboo it was back then, and a key indicator of that is when Mark talks about how he was the one that drugged Herb,
Mhm,
and I think I think Mark is secretly mad that Herb got all this recognition for killing all these people. And that's why now he's like, "No," like, trying to come out, so he's still, like, a part of it and kind of, like, making people think he did it because he really did do it,
mhm.
and this is how he's getting his recognition now. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of person there's no way in hell he did not know about the killings. I mean, he knew. There's even that
Mhm.
guy who came out and said, "Oh, yeah, Mark was named, like, that this guy, it was a guy that went over there to the house, and he said that Mark shot some other guy in front of him.
Right.
Yeah. So, like, there's
And then
no
he got all
way.
awkward, like, when they brought that up, he's like, "Well, I don't know anybody. No, no, mm-mm." So, yeah. I mean, without a doubt, Mark killed these people, but it's
Oh,
just,
yeah.
did Herb help? Is kinda like the
Yeah.
question.
I think if he wasn't coerced into anything, maybe those are the 2 alleys. He was either coerced or they found out they both like it and they both did it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's sickos like that out there.
I think it was definitely all Mark though, but just because of how detailed he talked about, like, the erotic asphyxiation and, like, he made that weird comment about, like, the lips turned purple. I'm like,
Or
"The
the eyes
fuck?"
bulging out? Yes.
Yes. It's
Like,
Mark.
who Yeah, it's I agree with you 100%. And I don't know, I mean, I know we don't get to see anything from her because obviously he's not here anymore, but, like, I know people mentioned he was a little weird, but he could have been weird to the point where, like, he was quirky weird and maybe still, like, easy to manipulate or easy to because people like that are sometimes just really easy to manipulate or they're really what is the word, docile or something like that.
Mhm.
Is that the right word? Um,
Yeah.
and I think that maybe he gives me those vibes just from the pictures. So take everything with a grain of salt because we've never seen, I mean, nobody, I don't think there's videos of him, but it's just
Yeah.
all crazy.
As always, y'all let us know what you think in the
Yes.
comments, please.
And I do wanna say one thing, okay? When we talk about stuff, we watch it and we mostly go off memory because we're trying not to have, like, scripted things, like, where we talk off scripts. So we're gonna miss things, and we may not always be completely accurate when it comes to drama. Um, so, like, if you don't like it, then you don't like it, and you can turn it off. But,
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that.
You're taking precious time out of your day to write a shitty comment, just wasting your time. So,
Yeah, because 'Cause we're gonna
um,
delete it. No, I'm just kidding.
we will laugh at you though and make fun of you.
Yeah. But to be honest, I think out of our whole time doing this, we've only had, like, two comments that are, like, rude, so I think that's a good, though, because it's 25 episodes in, only 2 rude comments. We're doing something right.
Yeah. We like the engagement, I guess.
Boosting the algorithm.
Period.
But yeah, so what else is there on that story?
That's
I
all
think we
my
pretty much
thoughts. I
yeah, we
I got everything out there.
yeah, I think we pretty much got everything on that one.
Not the ASMR.
Oh, could you hear it?
Yeah.
No, I see these little fuzzies on here, and it's bothering me because I could just see them in the camera. Alright, so I think next we were gonna get into Ruby Frankie, which, to be honest, I'd heard about her a little bit before the documentary, which is the new one on Hulu, and
Um,
but I didn't really know much about her. I think I saw videos of her on TikTok where people were, like, trash talking her about the
yeah.
bed, her
Mhm.
taking her son's bed away, and then another one where her daughter forgot her lunch, I think,
I saw that.
and, uh, the teacher called her and she was like, "Oh, no, it's her responsibility to pack her lunch, and if she didn't, don't feed," and, like, told the teacher not to feed her. And I think she was only, like, 4 or something weird like that, some young age.
Yeah.
She could have been older, but those are the 2 things I saw before I actually watched the documentary, so I didn't have, like, a ton of background on them because I never watched them on YouTube.
Yeah. Same, I hadn't seen much. I had seen the lunch one you were talking about, and then I'd seen one where, um, the daughter, like, slept through her alarm or something like that, and so she was like, "You're gonna walk to school, you can't catch the bus, I'm not taking you." And oldest daughter, what was it, Sherry? She was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" So, that's pretty much all I'd seen, so it was kinda eye-opening to get all the details.
And I felt so bad for that oldest daughter because she was, like, she had known the mom obviously the longest, and so she knew her back when things were good, and then she just had to see that fall apart, and can you imagine how hard that is? To
Right.
see, like, even if the mom was, abusive before, which I think she came out and said she was, but I think it kinda escalated more towards the end. Um, and I guess the brief overview of this is just that, they were, family vloggers. The channel was called 8 Passengers. She starts to get canceled for the stuff we just talked about a while ago, and then they switch into this point where they meet this lady named Jody Hildebrandt, I think is her last name, and she's, like, a therapist, and they're a Mormon. This is, like, in Utah,
Of course
so
they're
they're
Mormon.
part of the big Mormon community, and Jody kinda, like, is known for tearing marriages apart, very anti-man, which is
Mhm.
very of her. And I can't wait till we talk about that part because there's so many things that I saw just like but the gist of it is they end up kicking the dad out of the family, saying that he needs to go,
Fuck
like,
the dad too.
oh yeah, saying that he needs to, like, basically grow, I guess, as a person. And then Jody ends up moving into the family home, and it's just the mom, Jody, and the 4 youngest kids because they also kick the oldest son out, whose name is Chad, and then the daughter, she went away to college, but
Mhm.
they gave her room to Jody, which we'll kinda get into all that stuff here in a second. But, yeah, that's the gist of it. They end up getting arrested because they're abusing Jody and Ruby. Yeah, end up, abusing the two youngest kids, like tying them up. It's just crazy.
Was it just the two youngest ones, or I think it was all four of the younger ones, correct? But maybe the youngest two got the most of it.
So I think, yeah, the youngest two got the most of it because they thought they were demons.
Because I think it was the older, not Chad. Chad's the oldest boy. I think it's the second to oldest boy that was the one that escaped and went to the neighbor's house and was like, "I need you to call the cops for me."
So okay, so no, so the two youngest were the son, the one that you're talking about. Then there's a
Okay.
younger girl. So no, there's a two. So there's those two younger ones. I'm all showing my hands like the audio listeners are gonna be able to see. Um, it's the two younger ones, and then there's the two middle ones. The two middle ones were not at the house when this happened. They were somewhere
Oh, the
else. I don't
two
know where.
middle ones were girls. That's right. You're
Yeah,
right. Okay.
and then the two older ones, the boy got kicked out, and which I don't even know where he was living at, and because he wasn't living with the dad. I didn't know that. I thought he moved in with the dad when the dad got kicked out, but he
I think
didn't.
he was at Ruby's, no? Because the youngest girl was at Jody's.
No, I'm talking about Chad. When they kicked
Oh,
Chad out, at the same time they
yeah.
kicked the dad out, I thought that the dad and Chad lived together, but they didn't. I don't
You
know
know what?
where
That's a
Chad
good point.
was.
I don't remember where Chad was living.
Mm-mm. But yeah. So, or I guess we can kind of get into talking about like all the like key crazy stuff. So I'll let you go first because I've been talking for a minute, and then I'll kind of just build off of what you say.
Um, I'm trying to think, where do I even start? So, I mean, they seem like half-ass normal until, because I don't think the abuse really started until Jody came into the picture, correct?
No,
Yeah.
because during the thing, um, Sherry talks about how like her mom hit Chad, I think, so bad one time that there's like blood on the wall and she had to help him clean the blood off the wall. Like, so they were getting hit
Oh.
before.
Okay.
Um, but I don't know to the extent of like if she was hitting everybody. I know she was verbally abusive for sure because we see that,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure how physical it got. But I remember hearing that part about even before um homegirl
I think
came
at first
along.
it was like the kids didn't really like want to cooperate to film, and she was just like forcing them because they were making a shit ton of money. I know Kevin at one point in the documentary had said, um, at like their peak, they were bringing in like 100,000 a month. So the kids were, expected to like perform. But another thing I thought was interesting was she would she paid them, but she would only pay them like $10. So
Yeah. She's like, "You're not working for your $10." It's
I
like,
was like,
"Bitch,
"You're
I
making a
wouldn't work
hundred
for
thousand a
$10."
month, and I'm getting $10. Can't
Damn, at
even buy
least
a toy with
100.
$10. The fuck?"
Yeah, that's
Um,
crazy.
but yeah, I guess the abuse had kind of started before then too, because before I'm pretty sure it was before Jody came along, or maybe at the very beginning, Jody coming into the picture, is when she took Chad's bed away and made him sleep on a beanbag for 7 months.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Fucking
I think
unhinged.
those are, like, at the same times because that's when, she made him start having the sessions with Jody, um, and that's when he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fake, having these sessions. I'm gonna pretend like, oh, yeah, I wanna work on things," and she, like, kinda read through his bullshit,
Mhm.
um, and he even says that. So I think that's when that time happened too, so it could have correlated, it's been a couple days since I watched it, so I don't remember if that was, like, the exact thing, but yeah.
Okay, so let's start with like how Jody got into the house. So Sherry's viewership, or not Sherry, sorry Sherry, didn't mean to move you into that. Ruby's viewership on the YouTube starts going downhill because people start seeing like how fucking unhinged she is and how weird she is. So she's having all these issues with Chad. So that's when she joins Connections, which is um Jody's self help MLM, whatever you want to call it. um, so she's getting real into that, and what was it? So she gets Kevin on board, and she's like, "Kevin, you need to join Connections." So
Mhm.
Ruby and Kevin are basically leading these connection groups, like, side by side with Jody. and they're all getting super close. They hang out all the time. They do all these conferences, and at some point, Kevin and Ruby and all the kids go to Jody's house, and they find like she lived in a nice ass house, like super weird and out in the
Yeah.
middle of nowhere, like very creepy, but nice. And she's like, what, a doomsday prepper? Because this was around COVID, so people are like
Yeah.
doomsday prepping all the things. One thing I found weird was when they went to Jody's house. Um, he said they like heard like a crash downstairs, and then he saw like a handprint on the window, like they just thought some like spooky demonic shit was going down.
Mhm.
So that's when Jody's like, "Fuck, I'm possessed. Like I need help, SOS."
Yeah.
So they essentially move Jody into their home, and they're like praying over her, doing all the things. And somehow it gets to the point where Ruby is going to check on Jody every evening because she's
Dude.
possessed.
Oh my god, I have to oh, this killed me. I had to pause it because I was dying. Okay, so I just wanna point out, right, while you're talking about this particular thing, when Kevin comes on the screen and he's talking about, "Yeah, for some reason, it gets worse at night." So,
Kevin, I hate Kevin,
she's
dude.
like, all sorts he says something about the noises and stuff, and I'm like, "You"
Kevin's a cut.
and, he's like, "Yeah, so eventually she just had to sleep in there with her, like," and I'm like, "Bruh, you can't be that stupid. There's
Stand
no
up.
way." And, like, I know I'm sorry to call him stupid because I know people do get brainwashed and, like but I guess I don't know, man, like, how can you like, I'm like, "This bitch is a lesbian, alright? She's in there, there's fucking massage oils on the wall." Like, what are you talking about, bro? What do you think, she's massaging the demons out of her? Like, come on. What
Happy
is going
ending.
Ugh.
Dude, no. Oh, I hate Kevin so much. Like, okay, I'll get to my hatred for Kevin in a moment. So that's happening. At some point, they brainwash Kevin enough to be like, "You're Satan. Get the fuck out of my house." Do you remember like what the big deal was that like made her snap and like kick him out?
Um, I don't this is what I'm no, but I don't think there was anything that actually happened. I think that, uh, what was it that so before then, she was kinda having Jody was having those fits, the demonic possessions. She goes the one thing I wanna point out, she goes, "She's mine."
Bro, y'all, if you don't watch any of this, just go watch the clips of Jody being possessed.
I think it's the 3rd episode. Go watch the 3rd episode.
Oh,
But no, so something happens and, like, it's not even that he's doing anything wrong. Like, I think they talk about him so at first he was being praised in the Jody meetings, like, he'd lead the men group and he'd be praised, but then after he'd start getting, like, really just, like, shat on by Jody in these meetings. And it was around that time that, I guess I think because they said this to Chad too, I think. Chad had came out and told Jody that he was watching, like, porn and kissing
yeah.
girls, and so that's why they kicked Chad out is because they're like, "Oh, you're probably" his mom was like, "You're probably letting the demons in because you're the one, like, doing all this bad stuff." And then, they said that, I guess, Kevin was too lustful or something, I think, was the reason,
Oh, yeah,
right?
because
I
they
think
did
that
make that
yeah.
point in saying, like I think it was Chad that said it. He was like, "Yeah, so my basically, I think they wanted to get my dad out, and so me coming forward and being honest about that, they were like, "Okay, perfect time, kick out Kevin."
Yeah. So they're just trying to get rid of him, and they got rid of all the older kids, and all they had was the younger kids.
Mhm.
And which I mean, I think the 2 middle ones would have been able to see if something was happening between Jody and Frankie. I mean, Jody and Ruby. I don't know why I said Frankie. Frankie's a
Yeah.
first name kinda too, so that's kinda
No, it is.
but, even Sherry came out, I guess, in her book, and she talks about how she accidentally went in her room because she was still living there when Jody took over her room. and she saw all the massage oils, and, like, she felt like she had walked into something, and she saw
And the
her mom leave the room
candles.
with a flushed face and, like, crazy stuff, like, obviously, like, her after sex face or something. Um, so it was just this document, it's just crazy, like, but I do think partially they were both kind of, like, either they're really good at, like, manipulating people because they manipulated me too, but I think they are kinda crazy. Like,
Like,
they both just fed into each other's crazy,
the
and
delusion.
yeah, delusion, I guess is a better word for it. Um, but it was definitely brought on more by Jody, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause
that was another point. So Jody was like a therapist. She got her fucking license revoked, and then she was still going around telling people like I'm a therapist and like selling them all this bullshit when she lost her fucking license.
yeah, and she was supposed to be, like, the top recommended by her church and all sorts of stuff, like but I actually watched this thing, I don't know if it's come out yet. No, it was a YouTube video today about the Mormons, and how, gosh, not Ronnie Hubbard's Scientology, what is the other thing? Is it
John
John
Smith.
Smith? John Smith. He how he came out with all the, ever the "I'm the only one that's God," and, like, "We need to have multiple
Mhm.
wives to get close to God," and I'm just thinking, like, it kinda makes sense that Kevin was so brainwashed because if that guy can if, he can get all these people to believe that and, like, cult leaders can, I can see, like, you know what I mean, like, how homeboy is probably just really brainwashed, but, like, that's it's just crazy.
I don't know. I guess, but like I hate Kevin. Like I have no respect for him. I'm like fuck Kevin. You're a pussy. I hate it because I had absolutely no sympathy for the fact that you were watching. Granted, okay. One more thing to bring up was when they kicked Kevin out, he was gone for like a year and he didn't know about any of this. So he didn't find out about like how emaciated they were and like the extent of the abuse until um he goes to pick his kids up from the police station or whatever. But the fact that you just bowed out and didn't have anything to do with your fucking children for a year, fuck you
Or he even cut off Sherry, who was no longer living at the house.
and
Like, that was
Chad.
such a yeah, and Chad. And, like,
Fuck
you can
you,
clearly
Kevin.
see yeah, fuck you, Kevin. And you can clearly see that Sherry, like, is completely done with them, or maybe not completely, but she's definitely very detached, and Chad still calls them mom and dad. But I do think Chad is probably got a little more brainwashed than Sherry did.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so too.
but yeah, so yeah, as soon as I saw that and then him, like, defending her, still saying he still loved her in the I'm like, "There's no way that"
Like, she beat the shit out of your children, starved them, left them for dead. Like, if the sun hadn't got out, in 2 weeks, those kids would've died.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "That's my wife. Imma stick by her. Fuck
Yeah.
you, Kevin." Oh, that just infuriated me.
Yeah. Freaking crazy and stupid, and I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, "There's no way." And some part of me is
Yeah.
like, "There's no way you could be that dumb,
So,
unless you're evil too."
she has to be fucking evil. Like, she seemed evil before that. No, one thing
Yeah.
we didn't bring up, they talked about how, like, Kevin and Ruby got together, and so I guess Ruby had 6 people she was courting before she got married to Kevin, and she had a
Oh, yeah.
fucking color coded chart with different sections of like so and so's name. Do they mark off all these things? I'm like, she's been on Hinge from the get.
Yeah. She was like, "They can't be bald, or they can't be like blah, blah, blah," or like, all this stuff. Yeah, that list in the closet and how he says he went in there and, like, manipulated it, and dude, they're that whole family is crazy. But partially, like, I think, um, some of it is, like, just their religion and how they're taught to be towards each other maybe, I think, too, kinda plays into
Maybe,
that, but I don't know. I don't know a lot about that particular religion, so
you know. And
that was
fast
wild.
forward, they end up Jody and Ruby both get indicted on the child abuse charges, and I don't believe they've been sentenced yet. I know it said they're facing possibly 30 years, correct?
Yeah.
But I don't know if
But,
their sentencing hearing has been held yet.
I don't know if let's see.
I will be interested to see how long they get. How long do you think they're gonna
Hopefully 30 years,
I think they'll only get
cause
10.
yeah, plus time served or they'll count that towards whatever. Unfortunately, our system does not persecute they persecute, prosecute, whatever, for drugs more than they do for abusing people, so
True.
that's a topic for a different day. Um,
Hop off that soapbox real quick.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so I don't know, man. Hopefully they stay for a while at least. They deserve it. But speaking of, like, people who deserve prison, uh, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Casey Anthony jumping on TikTok this week. Thoughts?
Speechless, truly speechless. So she basically just comes on the TikTok if y'all haven't seen it, and she's like, I am an advocate for people in my situation. I don't remember exactly how she worded it, but she just went on there to kind of like promote herself pretty much. I saw somebody make a TikTok today and they said if she actually did not kill her daughter, she would have came on there and been like, I'm Casey Anthony. My daughter was Kaylee Anthony, and I need your help to find her killer. She didn't do any of that. She just went on there to be like, "What was me? Forgive me. It's been almost 20 years. Let's move on. Fuck off."
Yeah, and then I like how she said, like, in the video, she's like, "I'm not gonna let people," basically saying she wasn't gonna let people bully her off the app, and guess what happened? She's not on the app anymore. She deleted her account.
She should delete herself from this earth.
Yeah, dude. So just a brief like overview, really quick, of the Casey Anthony case because I know it happened a long time ago.
Mm,
So Kaylee Anthony, who was her daughter, was missing for 31 days. She waited to report. She didn't even report her missing. Her parents did reported their granddaughter missing because they hadn't seen her. Um, they found her remains near the Anthony home. Kaylee's remains. So basically, she went to jail or she got arrested because all of the evidence pointed towards her. I mean, she went to the club like the night after she was missing. I believe they found like blood and stuff in her trunk, like crazy stuff. And she ended up getting acquitted of the murder, but was convicted of lying to the police. So she spent 3 years in jail before the trial, but she received 4 years for lying to police and was released in July of 2011 due to time served and good behavior credits. So that's basically what happened in that case. Like, it is super sad. I remember it being such a big deal when I was growing up, and she's heartless. Like, there's no way she did not kill her kid.
mm-mm. No
And
way.
she's just living her life. And no lie, she did it because I think the consensus was like she just wanted to party and like not have a child anymore.
She would drug her
Clearly,
with fucking Xanax.
clearly your parents would have taken her. Like other people would have taken her. You did not have to kill that poor baby.
No.
And I think the reason she got off, if I'm remembering correctly, is like they found I think it was considered an accidental drowning. So I
Mm-hmm.
think what basically happened, if I'm remembering correctly, is like she ended up drowning. She didn't know what to do with the body, so she kind of just got rid of it instead of calling the police.
Yeah.
And but like even if that happened, she just showed no remorse whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
And so when she shows back up on TikTok, people are like, "What the fuck? Get out. We don't want you."
To this day, she
Rightfully
still
so.
has like absolutely no remorse.
Nope. She's
Trash.
a complete garbage piece of shit human.
We hope you
And
hear
I'm not
this,
afraid to say that.
Casey.
Yep. Yep.
I wonder if the jurors on that trial feel like pieces of shit.
I
Mm,
don't know how she got off. Like
I don't either.
I just don't understand. Like unless they paid somebody or I mean, technically they have to go off the evidence, but like seeing the evidence and stuff like it just doesn't everything points to her. And then the most she got was lying to the police, like, come on.
There's we could talk about that for days. There's so many details to that whole
Yeah.
case, and then, like, the sit-down interview with the parents and her that recently came out, like,
Yeah, and
it's
she even mentions her parents in that video, like, saying something along I can't remember what she says, but she says something about them in there, like, not having to, um, I think defend herself to people or something like that, and she mentions her parents in that.
mhm.
And, oh, she brings the gay people into it. She's like, "I'm an advocate for blah, 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 and LGBT." I'm like, "Bitch, you ain't an advocate for me. Uh-uh." And I saw some guy make a video of it too. So funny. He's like, "Gay people don't need you advocating for them."
You're not
Dude.
even gay.
Mm. Right? I'm like, "Bruh, don't try to come to this side. Nobody wants you over here."
Mm-mm. So, yeah, that is all things true crime. Way to catch you guys up on this week. As always, drop your comments below. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you like this episode, if you want to hear more of these types of episodes, and just what y'all think about the cases. And as always, we love you guys, and we will be back next week with another episode of Who Nuts.
Yeah, yep. See you next week, guys.
Bye, fuckers.
Bye.